Hey, Daily Dosers, coming at you from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5 today. It's one verse. I think it's really important for us to touch on and to teach on. And it comes on the heels of, there's a lot of sections in 1 Peter where it talks to two different groups of people who are apparently complementary to one another. This first section says, "To the elders among you, I appeal as a fellow elder and a witness of Christ's sufferings, who will also share in the glory to be revealed." Talks about the importance of elders shepherding those that are younger, shepherding the church. And then it turns around and it says, verse 5, "In the same way, you who are younger, submit yourselves to your elders, all of you. Clothe yourselves with humility towards one another, because one another," meaning elders to those who are younger and the younger to elders. "In both camps, God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble." I feel like I've got a cool, unique position at this church in particular, because I get to teach. And the beauty of God's word is, Jesus, when he's 12-year-old, he's in the temple and he's teaching. And the power of God transcends time and age and everything. And at certain periods of life, I would have been an elder, right? When people are living to be 35, 36 years old in some of the really bad times in our human history. I'm about as old as you get. And now in the church, I'm a youngin' and kind of everywhere in between. And I want to talk to those of you who would identify yourself as the younger right now. I think a lot of times, because we tend to be taught by elders in particular, this verse is really self-serving, so we don't teach on it much. But I think we need some pretty strong correction as the younger generation on what it means to honor those who are elders above us. The only reason that we get to stand where we get to stand and sit where we get to sit and be where we get to be, and if you grew up in a family that was faithful, or you go to a church that is established in faithfulness, or in a city that still has faith, or in a country where faith still persists, it's because the generations before you took a baton from the generation before them and carried it to give it to you. We as a younger generation, we have zero entitlement to this. Going all the way back to the cross. Without Jesus establishing his church through his words of "I am the Christ," and by establishing this, "I'm going to build my church here and the gates of hell will not overcome it," we tend to get a little bit cocky as the younger generation, and we need to experience some strong correction in that. It's easy though, isn't it? "Oh, you guys have your old archaic ways of thinking, and if we could just do what we wanted to do in the church, or if you would just give away, and if you would just..." What we don't understand is we're sitting on their shoulders to make these complaints and these arguments. And I think there needs to be a spirit of correction towards us as a younger generation, and a healthy rebuke of going, when's the last time you honored someone who, because of their faithfulness, you get to drink in the water, you get to soak in the environment and the climate that they've created ahead of us through the work of Jesus Christ? I think this is really kind of lacking in churches nowadays. As we will go move, make way for us, younger generation, we have to stop and turn around and go, without their faithfulness in their context. And we think, well, it's harder in ours because look at how demoralized our world is, and look at how far they faced the same thing. It looked a little bit different. It might have had a different shape. Maybe it wasn't internet pornography. Maybe it was not, but they stood strong in their own climates and in their own generation for us to be able to sit in a series and an attitude of entitlement to say, when is it going to be my shot? When's it going to be my turn? Today, I want to challenge you. If there's someone in your life, maybe it's a mom or a dad or an uncle, grandma or grandpa, it might be easy to take their faithfulness for granted. But in the same things that you're struggling with, that you are experiencing trials, they did the exact same thing, and they stood day after day, time after time, in faithfulness. Or maybe they came out of faithlessness into faithfulness. And I think it's high time that we turned around and we honored those people. We honored them by thanking them, by blessing them, by making much of their faithfulness to the glory of God. So, whether you're part of the older generation, can I take today's Daily Dose just to say thank you for what you've carved out for us? We do not take that for granted. And those of us who do, turn around and change that spirit of haughtiness and that pride of thinking that we are the bee's knees and we made it on our own, because we didn't. Without Peter and that next generation leading all the way to here, the gospel might not even be preached anymore. Let both sides come together in mutual thankfulness for one another. We'll see you guys tomorrow.